When you think of Nepal, the first thing that comes to mind is probably the Himalayas, the world's highest mountain range. But did you know that around 30 million people live at the foot of these mountains? Life in the Nepali mountains is not easy. The terrain is rugged and the climate is harsh. But the people who live here are resilient and resourceful. They have developed a unique way of life that is adapted to their environment. In this episode, we will introduce you to the people of the Nepali mountains. We will learn about their way of life and the challenges they face. We will also see how they are working to build a better future for themselves and their families. Nepal is named after the Kathmandu Valley, where the nation's founder established a capital in the late 18th century. Nepali culture represents a fusion of Indo-Aryan and Tibeto-Mongolian influences shaped by a long history of migration, conquest, and trade. Nepal is a roughly rectangular country with an area of 381,200 square kilometers. It is bordered by India in the south, west, and east, and by Tibet to the north. Nepal is home to the Himalayan mountains, including Mount Everest. From the summit of Everest, the land plunges to the Gangetic Plain in the south, which is just above sea level. This drop divides the country into three horizontal zones: the high mountains, the lush central hills, and the flat, arid Terai region in the south. Snow-fed rivers rush through Nepal's hills and mountains from north to south, carving deep valleys and steep ridges. Nepal's rugged topography has created a variety of habitats, each one with its unique flora and fauna. Different ethnic groups have adapted to these different habitats over time, developing their own unique cultures and traditions. The result is a country with over 36 ethnic groups and over 50 languages. According to Worldometer, the population of Nepal as of 2023 is 30.9 million. This makes Nepal the 49th most populous country in the world. The population growth rate in Nepal is estimated to be 0.92% per year. Despite the extremely high infant mortality rates, the fertility rates are even higher. High rural birth rates have led to land shortages, forcing people to immigrate to the Terai region, where there is more farmland, or to urban areas where jobs are available. The influx of migrants to cities has resulted in overcrowding and pollution, as exemplified by the Kathmandu Valley, which has a population of around 700,000. After conquering much of modern Nepal, King Prithvi Narayan Shah designated Nepali as the national language. Nepali, an Indo-European language derived from Sanskrit, is spoken by most Nepalese and is the medium of government, education, and most radio and television broadcasts. Many people in Nepal speak their ethnic group or regional language more fluently than Nepali.
लामाको भाषामा चाहिँ त्यहाँबाट त्यो सुङ हालेर त्यो भित्र पुरा मन्दर हालेर मात्रै
The majority of people in Nepal, 81%, are Hindus. The second largest religious group is the Buddhists, at 9%. Both Hinduism and Buddhism have had a significant impact on Nepali culture. Hindu and Buddhist temples and monasteries are found all over Nepal. Hindu and Buddhist beliefs and practices are deeply ingrained in the lives of many Nepalese people. In addition to Hinduism and Buddhism, other religious groups in Nepal include Islam, Kirat, Mundum, and Christianity. The history of Nepal is a long and complex one, dating back to the prehistoric era. Its culture has been influenced by both India and China. One of the earliest known civilizations in Nepal was the Kirati people, who arrived in the region around 1000 BC. The Kiratis were followed by the Lichavi people in the 4th century AD. The Lichavis established a powerful kingdom that lasted for several centuries. During this time, Buddhism and Hinduism were introduced to Nepal, and the country became a center of learning and culture. In the 13th century, the Lichavis were overthrown by the Mallas. The Mallas ruled Nepal for several centuries, and during this time, the country experienced a golden age of art and architecture. Some of Nepal's most famous temples and monuments, such as the Swayambhunath Stupa and the Baudhanath Stupa, were built during the Malla period. In the 18th century, the Gorkha kingdom began to expand its territory. In 1768, Prithvi Narayan Shah, the king of Gorkha, conquered Kathmandu and established the modern kingdom of Nepal. In 1814, Nepal fought a war with the British East India Company. The Anglo-Nepalese War ended in a defeat for Nepal, and the country was forced to cede some of its territory to the British. In 1846, another war broke out between Nepal and the British. This war also ended in a defeat for Nepal, and the country was forced to cede more territory to the British. Nepal remained a British protectorate until 1923, when it gained full independence. After independence, Nepal remained a relatively isolated country. In 1990, a pro-democracy movement forced King Birendra to establish a multi-party democracy. In 2006, after a decade-long civil war, Nepal abolished its monarchy and became a republic. The country is currently governed by a democratically elected government. Nepal is a diverse country with a rich history. It is a country with a lot to offer visitors, from its stunning mountain scenery to its ancient temples and monasteries. Nepal, once one of the least urbanized countries in the world, is experiencing rapid urbanization, especially in the capital. Kathmandu, Patan, and Bhaktapur, three neighboring cities in Nepal, are known for their stunning pagoda style and shikhara temples, Buddhist stupas, palaces, and multi-story brick houses with elaborately carved wooden door frames and screen windows. Rural architecture in Nepal is generally simple, reflecting the distinct building styles of caste and ethnic groups, the locally available materials, and the diverse climate. Typically, rural houses are constructed with 1 or 2 stories, using mud bricks for walls and featuring a thatched roof. Village houses tend to be clustered in river valleys or along ridge tops. However, modern buildings have been built in many villages of Nepal, providing close to home accommodation for both locals and tourists. Modern buildings in rural Nepal offer a number of advantages over traditional village houses. They are typically more spacious and comfortable, and they often have modern amenities such as electricity, plumbing, and heating. Additionally, modern buildings are often built using more durable materials such as concrete and brick, which makes them more resistant to earthquakes and other natural disasters. While some people may argue that modern buildings are out of place in rural Nepal, others believe that they are a necessary sign of progress. Modern buildings can help to improve the quality of life for rural Nepalese people, and they can also help to attract tourists to these villages. Road transportation is the primary mode of transport in Nepal. The country has a network of over 50,000 kilometers of roads, including highways, secondary roads, and rural roads. The main highways connect the major cities and towns, but many of the rural roads are in poor condition. Public buses are the most common form of public transportation in Nepal. They are relatively inexpensive and operate on a variety of routes. However, buses can be crowded and uncomfortable, especially during peak travel times. Taxis are also available in Nepal, but they are more expensive than buses. They can be a convenient option for short trips or for traveling to remote areas. Nepal is a mountainous country with a lot of difficult terrain. This makes it difficult and expensive to build and maintain roads. This country is also prone to extreme weather events such as landslides, floods, and earthquakes. These events can damage roads and bridges, disrupting transportation. The large majority of the people are subsistence farmers who grow rice, maize, barley, wheat, and vegetables. At low altitudes, agriculture is the principal means of subsistence, while at higher altitudes, agro-pastoralism prevails. Many households maintain chickens and goats. However, few families own more than a small number of cows, water buffalo, or yaks, because the mountainous topography does not provide grazing land for large animals. Nepal is one of the poorest countries in the world. This poverty can be attributed to scarce natural resources, a difficult terrain, landlocked geography, and a weak infrastructure, but also to feudal land tenure systems, government corruption, and the ineffectiveness of development efforts. Foreign aid rarely goes to the neediest sectors of the population but is concentrated in urban areas, providing jobs for the urban middle class. The name of the national currency is rupee. The majority of commercial activity takes place at small, family-owned shops or in the stalls of sidewalk vendors. Since the late 1950s, tourism has increased rapidly. Trekking, mountaineering have drawn tourists from the West and other parts of Asia. The tourism industry has sparked the commercial production of crafts and souvenirs and created a number of service positions such as trekking guides and porters. Rice is so important to the Nepali diet that many Nepalis feel like they haven't had a real meal unless they have eaten a sizable helping of it. Most Nepalis eat a large rice meal twice a day, typically at mid-morning and early evening. Rice generally is served with dal, a lentil dish, and tarkari, a cooked vegetable. In poorer and higher altitude areas where rice is scarce, the staple is dhiro, a thick mush made of corn or millet. Most families eat from individual plates while seated on the floor. It is more common to eat with the hands. The Nepal healthcare system is a complex and evolving system that is facing a number of challenges. The public healthcare system is funded by the government and is free at the point of use for basic services. However, there is a shortage of healthcare facilities and personnel, especially in rural areas. This can lead to long wait times for treatment and difficulty accessing specialized services. The private healthcare sector is growing rapidly and provides a wider range of services than the public sector. However, private services can be expensive and are often out of reach for the poor. Despite the challenges, the Nepal healthcare system has made significant progress in recent years. Life expectancy has increased. Infant mortality has decreased. And the prevalence of many diseases has declined. However, there is still a long way to go before Nepal can achieve universal health coverage and provide quality healthcare for all its citizens. Nepal's education system has made significant progress in recent years, but it still faces a number of challenges. Basic education is compulsory and free for all children. But there is a shortage of schools and teachers, especially in rural areas. This can lead to large class sizes and difficulty accessing quality education.
T for train.
The quality of secondary and higher education also varies widely. Many students leave school without completing their secondary education, and many graduates of higher education are not prepared for the workforce. Dropout rates are high, especially among girls and students from disadvantaged groups. This is due to a number of factors, including poverty, child labor, and gender discrimination. Despite the challenges, Nepal's education system is making progress. According to the World Bank, the literacy rate in Nepal for adults aged 15 and above in 2021 was 71.2%. This is a significant improvement from the literacy rate of 33% in 1991. Nepali people are passionate about sports. The most popular sport in Nepal is cricket. The Nepal national cricket team has made significant progress in recent years, and it is now ranked among the top associate teams in the world. Nepal has also hosted a number of international cricket tournaments, including the 2014 ICC World 2020 qualifiers. Football is another popular sport in Nepal. The Nepal national football team is ranked 173rd in the world, but it has shown signs of improvement in recent years. Other popular sports in Nepal include volleyball and basketball. Nepal is a country that is facing a number of challenges. Poverty, illiteracy, and gender inequality are all major problems. However, Nepal is also a country that is on the rise. The Nepalese people are resilient and determined to build a better future for themselves. They're also people who are proud of their culture and heritage. Now, with the help of the international community, Nepal can overcome the challenges it faces and build a better future for its people. In this land of 1,000 hills, you'll find something for everyone, from breathtaking scenery to vibrant culture.